What is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Global here, back with another video, and in this one, we're going to be talking about the New England Patriots bringing back the hero of Super Bowl 49, Malcom Butler, to not just a one-year contract, but a multi-year contract. Now, this is going to be a 2-year contract. It's going to be worth about $9 million. I'm going to be really curious to see the terms of this deal based off of the money. I'm really curious to see how much he's going to be making in 2022 and then 2023. Chances are the number for 2022 is going to be much lower than it is for 2023, just based off the facts that the Patriots will have a lot more money next offseason versus having absolutely none right now. But it will not surprise me if for both of these years, his full guaranteed money is low, but also his base salary would be low, and there's going to be a lot of incentives to how he could get more money. This is probably the most exciting free agent signing that the Patriots have made so far this offseason. I mean, bringing back a former Patriot, having a reunion with somebody like Malcom Butler, I think is just exactly what Patriots fans needed to feel after a terrible start to free agency. And from what rumors say, Malcom Butler is extremely hype to come home to Foxborough. With that being said, it's going to be really interesting to see Malcom Butler's return to the Patriots. Now, Malcom Butler, in his original stint with the Patriots, played really well. He was a starting caliber cornerback for the Patriots in the start of his career. Obviously, Super Bowl 49 makes that big play. 2015 had a spectacular season. 2016 had a really good season. But after then is really when that downfall came. I would say the downfall of Malcom Butler's play came in Super Bowl 51 when he was asked to go against Julio Jones and was just getting torched. Another little side note that I'm going to be really interesting to see is what happens with the number 21. The number 21, as we all know, currently is going to Adrian Phillips, who this past season got a 2-year extension with the Patriots. Phillips is a high-regarded player, not just for the Patriots in this franchise, but also around the league. Is he going to give 21 up to Malcom Butler? Obviously, Butler's number with the Patriots was 21, but his number with the Titans, which was the last team he played with, was also 21. Now, probably the biggest part to this storyline is that Malcom Butler is coming out of retirement. He surprisingly decided to retire this past season. He signed a deal with the Arizona Cardinals, was with them for a short period of time, and then just decided that he was going to call it quits. Now, a year later, he's already trying to make a comeback to the NFL. With that also being said, I think a lot of Patriots fans should really hinder their expectations on what Malcom Butler is going to bring. Butler is 32, okay? He's getting up there in age. By the time that his contract is done with the Patriots, if he lasts that long with the Patriots, he's going to be 34. He's not the new upcoming of Stephon Gilmore. You're not going to get a 2015 or 2016 version of Malcom Butler, but Butler is going to be the best corner that the Patriots currently have, and if this is the Patriots' final cornerback group, Malcom Butler obviously is your CB1. I think a lot of people are also worried with how is this reunion going to go between Butler and the Patriots because of how their relationship ended. As we all know, Malcom Butler was surprisingly benched in Super Bowl 52, didn't play, and then he went and signed a big contract with the Tennessee Titans. Now, there's some rumors about why Malcom Butler was benched in the Super Bowl, all the way from he hit a coach, all the way from he got into an argument with Matt Patricia. But nonetheless, he's back in New England. If he didn't want to be here, he wouldn't have been. And he even said in an interview back in 2018 that there is, and I quote, "no bad blood between me and Bill Belichick." He also went on to say that one of the greatest coaches ever, and I care about him. I know he cares about me. And this is a hurtful game sometimes, and it can look different than what it is, but that's my guy. I got a lot of respect for him. Like I said before, this is definitely an upgrade compared to what the Patriots had before. You had Jalen Mills being your starting cornerback. You had Terrence Mitchell being the only cornerback that this team added so far. And then, of course, having guys like Shaun Wade, Miles Bryant, just some more unproven guys. And then Juwan Williams, who I don't think we should really expect anything out of at this point. New England, at the very least, is going to get a guy when they need it most that knows the system, that knows the expectations. It's not going to take time for him to come back and say, okay, what do I do in this system? How am I going to run what Belichick is asking for? How am I going to communicate with these other defensive players? There should not be miscommunications with this defense, even to start out this season. With Malcom Butler returning, he obviously has a relationship with guys like Patricia, with guys like Belichick, with guys like Steve Belichick. He also has a relationship with guys like Devin McCourty and Jonathan Jones, who I know is absolutely stoked that he is back. Now, if we want to talk about Butler's play the last season that he was in the NFL, which again, that was 2020, as he sat out 2021 due to retirement, his season wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad compared to the last couple of seasons, at least, that we saw from Malcom Butler. Now, it wasn't great. It was definitely inconsistent. He still gave up a little bit more than 900 yards receiving, but was still able to put up a total of 4 interceptions, 111 tackles, and 14 passes defended. Malcom Butler also in 2020 played a lot better. He was graded a lot better as a zone cornerback rather than a man cornerback. He graded just under an 80 overall grade in zone coverage, as were in man he graded in the low 70s, high 60s. Based off of what the Patriots did last year in 2021 with this defense when it had secondary issues, and looking at the secondary issues for 2022 only getting worse, I don't see why the Patriots would not play a good amount of zone. Now, I know that the Patriots are mainly a man defense. They're a man-schemed defense, but unfortunately, they don't have the personnel to be able to run that. Malcom Butler's 5'11". He's a year out of football. You don't want him going up against your number one wide receivers in the league. You don't want him going up against Tyreek Hill. You don't want him going up against Jamar Chase. And unfortunately, there's nobody behind Malcom Butler that would be a better case to put on a number one wide receiver like the guys that I just mentioned. So in this case, it really is going to be the Patriots' best option, especially for Butler's play, to play a good amount of zone for this defense in 2022, especially if you want to get the best out of Malcom Butler rather than playing so much man-to-man. In 2020, he put up 89 solo tackles. That ranked first in the NFL. He had 4 interceptions. That was tied for third. He was targeted 116 times. 116 times. That is first, or that was first in the NFL, and allowed 73 receptions on those 116 targets. That also ranked first in the NFL. He had an overall grade of 71.6 with a run defensive grade of 59.3, a pass rush grade of 50.2, and a coverage grade of 72.7. Now, if we want to take a look at 2017 and look at his PFF grades, those were his final, or that was his final year rather, here in New England. He put up a total of 54 solo tackles, tied for 23rd. He put up 2 interceptions, tied for 24th. He was targeted 90 times, tied for 11th, and allowed 52 receptions, which was tied for 16th at the time. He had an overall grade of 72.8, a run defensive grade of 63.2, a pass rush grade of 91.9. The Patriots really like to use Malcom Butler in a pass rush perspective, and had a coverage grade of 71.6. Again, do not expect Malcom Butler to be the 2016 version of himself where he had a coverage grade of 89.2. He's not that cornerback anymore. He hasn't been that elite cornerback, a true number one cornerback who could match up to a guy like Odell Beckham Jr., who was one of the best at the time. He hasn't been able to do that in years. I don't see him coming out of retirement off a year off the NFL, coming back to the Patriots, and somehow reminiscing himself back to that 2015 to 2016 version. I can't see a world in which that happens. But at the very least, again, the Patriots are getting a guy in the system who knows the system, and they're getting a better player than anybody that they currently have in the secondary. This team really, really needs help at cornerback, and they're definitely getting that help with Malcom Butler, but it isn't going to be, your top-notch, elite-level cornerbacks in the NFL. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on this video and subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. Like always, I appreciate you guys for watching, and go Pats.